So folks, we still see officers here. This is the main. Behind me is the main HQ building. If you look close, this is the main HQ building, the main headquarters. But officers who are heavily guiding this particular building because the sheriffs are yet to make their way in there. And so once they start to make an attempt to go in there, we'll show you. But let's see. I think they've started already. So. So the sheriffs have started. The sheriffs have started to knock into the main HQ building. The sheriffs have started to enter the main HQ building. This is the main HQ building now as we speak. The sheriffs are breaking into the main HQ building.
The sheriff on this and don't security
Still attempting to break into the main HQ building. They're still attempting to break into the main HQ building. And there are another rooms. There are other rooms downstairs. So what looks like still demolishing structures. This excavator still demolishing structures. The excavator is still demolishing structures. And of course, of all of the discoveries that were made, the police discovered shotguns, ammunition, 2 rifles, several passports, some of which we've been told are diplomatic passports.
This is the eviction process.
And of course, a long stay, a long occupation, a legacy of approximately 20 years is being brought down by an excavator here in the compound of the famous coalition or Congress for Democratic Change. There is a pickup truck parked in the compound, and as the excavator brings down this structure, well, demolition continues, folks. Keep watching, keep following us. The demolition continues, and of course this is part of the execution of so folks, the main HQ building has not been touched yet, though the folks have attempted making an entry into the main HQ building. Or if you look closely, this is it right here, the main famous CDC HQ. And but what we're still looking at is the demolition as the eviction process. As the eviction continues, we're still looking at the demolition of structures.
So to our viewers, we are still here at the headquarters of the former ruling CDC, and this morning, Liberia National Police, the sheriff from the Civil Law Court at the Temple of Justice in Monrovia is currently executing the eviction order by Judge David Smith. After the Civil Law Court rule, and lawyer representing the CDC filed the writ of prohibition before the Supreme Court of Liberia yesterday.
Is he going for the main HQ building? Is the excavator going for the main HQ building?
Well, we can ask you to try until we see the action.
This is what it looks like.
A lot of things
It appears the excavator is going for the main HQ building. It appears the excavator is going for the main HQ building, Aaron.
Yes.
This doesn't only look like an eviction, but they are also demolishing some of these structures. One of the main buildings, of course. Yes. Do you remember this particular balcony? Do you remember this particular balcony?
Yes, Tony.
Just focus the camera quickly. This is the famous balcony on which former President George Weah shed a tear when he won the election. And yes, the excavator has gone for the main HQ building. The excavator has gone for the main HQ building. George Weah billboard portrait, breaking down the George Weah portrait from the walls and breaking down the entire building. Amos, if you focus on the balcony right here and just focus on me quickly, guys. If you know this balcony, this is the famous balcony on which former President George Weah stood and shed a tear in 2017, 2018 when the CDC won the elections. This entire place was crowded with partisans, and he stood up there along with former Vice President Joel Howard Taylor in the balcony. And this famous balcony is down. It's being brought down by the excavator folks. And so this eviction is also coupled with demolition. Materials being thrown out, occupants being thrown out, structures being demolished. The famous main HQ of the CDC is being brought down by an excavator during an eviction process on the orders of the courts.
And Tony, what surprised me a lot is the discovery of lethal weapons in one of the buildings here.
So
yes, I mean
the discovery of lethal weapons, of course.
Yes, I'm a bit afraid. You know, this is a political party that just left power 3 years back, and having lethal weapon in one of the buildings that Sherry took over 45 minutes to break through. Yeah. I mean, it's something that baffled any peaceful solution.
Well, the excavator is going from wall to wall, from structure to structure, breaking down layers of this famous CDC headquarters.
I mean, just last night around 8:05, this building, we heard the current acting chairman of the CDC having a press conference in this particular building. So now excavation is currently taking place. I don't know what will be the next action.
Yes, the demolition is obviously taking place. So the demolition of the famous CDC HQ is happening right before our eyes. Wherever you're watching and following from. Wherever you're watching and following from. And so folks, the famous CDC HQ is being brought down by police. The famous CDC HQ is being brought down. And on this push, or this balcony, which is famously known as the spot where former President George Weah stood, shed a tear in celebrating the victory in 2017. And just to bring a little reminder to you, but today obviously from a court order there is eviction taking place. The question is, the owner of the property has asked the CDC to leave the property, and does the demolition also come with the package? That's a huge question. The owners of the property ask for these structures to be demolished. That's a huge question.
So we need to look at the eviction order from civil law court. Maybe the eviction order was in twofold: evict and demolish the property. I mean the buildings that are on my property. So maybe I can sell or build structure to my convenience. So we cannot tell. So we look at the.
It could be. And so now this famous balcony will go down.
And guess what? The lawyer who is representing the Bernard family, he wants to work for the CDC government, Councillor Sema Serena Sipo, who once served as a Solicitor General during the CDC regime.
Yes.
He first worked at the Ministry of Labor. Later on, he was repositioned as Solicitor General of Liberia, and he was later on sanctioned also from the US government. Now he is the one who is representing the Bernard family in this case.
So, interestingly, former Solicitor General during the CDC regime is now the legal counsel for the owners of this property.
Yes.
And now he has won the case against a political establishment that he once worked for, but was also sanctioned by the US government while serving his term.
Yes, certainly. And last night he appeared on one local radio station here, and he said, the law is a law. Tony, the thing is, you and I can be the best of friends. If you're a lawyer, I'm a lawyer. We can go to court and argue case. When I win you, I mean, they could tell the court. That's how the law works.
It doesn't matter which political establishment you once worked for.
No, right now it's about the law. This country is a country of law. You know, even the CDC, who is the former ruling party, every time they talk about the law, they mention the law. So the law is blind. When the code rules, you have to live with what the code says. And after the code rule, the CDC lawyer took an appeal to the Justice Interim at the Supreme Court of Liberia. Before then, the immediate retired Chief Justice was there, and the full bench of the Supreme Court came, they listened to the argument, and they sent the case back down to the lower court, which is a criminal court, which is the civil law court at the Temple of Justice, and the civil law court rule. I mean, the civil law court has ruled a couple of times in this particular case, so it's not just one, it's not just two. The case has been lingering in the corridors of the Temple.
It's been forthcoming.
Yeah, in the Temple of Justice for a couple of years now, and finally the law is coming to take place, as you can see.
So the demolition is still going on. You're seeing the excavator is breaking this building down wall by wall, crushing the roof. crashing the roof, tearing the zincs apart, breaking the plank, the roof into pieces, dragging the columns from left to right, tearing this entire structure apart.
Today at this stage, we're at the hierarchy of the CDC. We are yet to see any partisan or sympathizer of the CDC at this particular stage. Last night, most of them said they will be, and interestingly, today at about 1 p.m., the CDC, I'm told, will be having an executive meeting here at this particular party headquarters. So we are still watching whether the executive meeting will still stand with what is going on.
Well, if you once came here to attend a political function, it could be for campaigning, it could be for cheering your favorite political icon to power. Well, that memory will obviously might be the last one you might have had in this particular environment. Structures have been torn apart by an excavator. And yes, Aaron, we look forward to seeing or hearing from the political establishment itself, the famous CDC. But again, like you keep saying, the law remains the law. I have not seen, though we have been hearing opposing views or statements from the CDC, but from what we're looking at, there has not been any retaliatory action. What was being anticipated by folks was that the police and partisans would have gone back and forth with each other today, throwing stones and tear gas, and people running helter-skelter. That was exactly what was being anticipated, but as it is what's happening now, except for this morning where we saw burning of tires at the entry. Yes, basically, the police walked in here, I can say calmly.
Yeah, Tony, that was the anticipation from Liberian. You know, the CDC is not any small political party in Liberia. I can safely say in Liberia, we have two major political parties. You have the United Party and you have the CDC, which you cannot dispute. You know, after the first round of any election, you see people will come and they either emerge with the CDC or with the current ruling United Party. So last night, you know, based on a press conference that was held by the CDC and through its national chairman, one may deduce that yes, if the police come here this morning, I mean, they were going to meet up with resistance. But you know, up to our surprise, even when we came this morning, we saw the flaming fire right to the entrance of the CDC. You know, for me, I was a bit afraid. You know, I was expecting to see a serious retaliation, you know, from the partisan of the CDC. But this is actually a different scenario. The place is, I can say, it is peaceful, even though there is a demolition exercise going on. But the place, in my mind, it is peaceful so far. I don't know about you, but for me, it is peaceful. I'm not seeing any retaliation from any partisan of the CDC, even though so far there have been 3 arrests made. The guy that was rescued from the water, and the other guy who said he was sleeping, and the other guy also who
occupying the building.
Yeah, that building that the police discovered 2 lethal weapons, and there are 3 arrests made so far. But the person have been, to me, he has been peaceful.
So folks, the excavator will take a little breather from shaking the ground beneath us, crunching on these walls, crashing into the pillars, tearing the zinc apart, moving the roof in all directions. This is the famous headquarters of the CDC.
And the bigger question is, Tony, where the first soil that we met this morning around 5:45, 5:50, that was, you know, at the entrance bringing more wood to increase the blaze of the fire, where are they?
Well, it appears
we say regroup?
It appears the term regroup is a famous term in Liberia.
Yes.
So it appears they have gone to probably do just that. But again, Aaron, the process continues. The LDA is also part of this demolition. Not demolition, definitely, but eviction. They're also touring the compound. So let's go in that direction and see. There is a bag that have been discovered. We don't know what it contains. Aaron, quick. Have we been able to find out what that is?
Petrol bomb.
These are already prepared petrol bombs that have been discovered by the police.
19 pieces.
19 pieces of petrol bombs already prepared, as you can see. Okay, so right now they only need flame. And so right now, if you were to let.
So let me just show you single one so you can see what we're talking about.
Alright, so the officers will show us just a single one. So this is a petrol bomb made out of Heineken bottles. So we gotta come and take a step back.
It's scary, you know.
I mean, this obviously might have been prepared with the intention of retaliating towards the police, but again, the way the police came in, if you look closely, there is a nail bar there already prepared.
But Tony, this is a political party. This is not any military institution to have a lethal weapon, petrol bombs, you know.
Well, but supporters have, their own intentions. Obviously, it might not be a political decision by the entire establishment to retaliate to police or partisans. Aggrieved partisans, of course, might obviously stage actions like this against police.
I strongly believe the partisans should listen to their leaders.
Definitely, I think that's where that's where it comes in. But let's see if we can go a little closer. So they've discovered this place looks like an area where drinks were being sold. Some low spot. What could that be, please? Okay, they've already discovered ammunition also.
We've been through separate operations. I don't know. I got something else here.
So probably the police, another discovery of bullets. So
let's take charge of what we got.
the police will come to pick these ones up. The police will come for another discovery of live bullets.
Live bullet, yeah.
For handguns. These are bullets for handguns. The police officers now will take them into. One more second, please. One more, please. One more.
So there you have live bullets.
Thank you.
So why the police are not using hand gloves?
I have had that observation. This is a delicate issue, and I don't see any of the officers using hand gloves to hold all of these evidences that they're discovering. Previously we saw two lethal weapons. We saw two rifles, and they were being held by the police officer with his bare hands, no gloves, nothing. I don't know, but it's their job. We can't say how they do it, but in my mind, these are actual court evidence that will be presented in case the government of Liberia decide to press charges or pursue any case regarding the discovery of these firearms, especially where they discuss, where a discovery to be made as to ownership.
Yeah, Tony, obviously there will be a case.
Sure.
There will be a case from the government of Liberia. This is not a military institution, and you having lethal weapons in your possession. I think the state going to take some issue with you, and you will go to court. To clarify, your motive behind having lethal weapons in your possession. Knowing very well that this country, what we went through several years back, and you having lethal weapon in your possession as one of the major political parties that have lots of young people who are exuberant, who chant battle cry. Who have lots of energy. You know very well. So it's
one may say. Come to also think of it, of recent, there were officers of the not emergency, but the Executive Protection Service who were relieved of their duties, and obviously lots of whom resided here in this particular environment. It's obvious government of Liberia might not have been able to disarm these officers back then. We cannot independently verify that, but seeing the availability or the presence of firearms and ammunitions like handgun bullets kind of raises concern.
So the thing is, once you were part of the military or even the police, and when the police say, hey, as
no, you didn't show it.
So when the police say, hey, as of now,
so can we focus, sir? Can you? Yes, we appreciate if we have a glimpse of the discovery. There's also a discovery of another firearm. If you look here, it's a small gun. You can call this. It's being wrapped in the Liberian flag, and the police officer is kind of showing this to us. It's being wrapped in the Liberian flag. Thank you very much, officer. And also, so there you have it. The officer there. So there's an officer there who has with him a handgun. You just noticed the handgun. We are being told it was discovered here also with some bullets attached. I don't know why is a handgun being wrapped in the Liberian flag. That's a nice question. Looks sounds very it's ironic, but kind of.
Yeah, so like I was saying, if you were one part of the police or the AFL, whenever the police say, hey, as of now, we don't need your service anymore. If you have any weapon in your possession that was given to you by the government of Liberia, in my mind, I think it is clear, as a patriotic citizen to return that particular weapon back to the police or to the armed forces. And it should not be kept by you. What's your motive of keeping weapons when you are not a weapon carrier? That's a bigger questions. I think that the court will have to ask the tough questions so that MSOC can come up with those who may have this particular weapon in their possession.
So let's see if we can see one or two. He has already made his way into the compound. So let's see if we can go there. Though he said he's not taking statements currently, but let's just walk there. One or two himself. So Aaron, the demolition is going places. They have not only demolished the actual HQ, there are other structures attached that are being affected as we speak.
Yeah, certainly.
So let's see, one or two is going in that direction. We don't know, but you can show the camera around, Aaron. Sufficient demolition has taken place.
Broadcast currently live on state television.
Okay, thank you very much, folks. For those of you live from the studio who are live streaming also on national television, the switchers, the technicians, those changing lower thirds, those uploading graphics, cameramen, all of you there back in the studio, we love to say thank you for live streaming this session on national television. We just witnessed the arrival of 102.
Thank you for being queer for sending us the notification.
Yes, of course. Thanks to our colleague Fabien Quea. So let's now make our way in here. We are seeing, Aaron, we got a double up. Chief. We're seeing the 102 police, Nelson Flair himself assessing the environment, touring the grounds. He's giving instruction to his men, waving to his officers who have executed this mission or this on his behalf. And this is the building where the weapons or the arms were found. So he wants to know if his officers did search the building properly, but this is the building where the arms were discovered. One beneath the bed, one in the ceiling. And also the LDA guys have also discovered some arms, also a handgun and several bullets. But this is 102 himself right ahead of us here, trying to inspect the work his men are doing.
Yeah, so I mean, Tony, this is a very serious matter for me, having a lethal weapon in such a place that I believe to be the headquarters of.
So one good thing about this eviction, it's not necessarily about forcing people out.
Yes.
From what I look at from the police, in fact, the 102 is asking his officers to kindly find officers to go and assist one of the residents to evacuate the place. So it's not like he's being demanded to get out, but the 102 is asking that officers can come over here and see if they can help him out to, evacuate the place.
So, Tony, this place is started in two-fold. You have residential, and you also have the party.
So there is the HQ right behind us. This one is the HQ itself, and then if you look around the HQ, there are structures. These structures are residents, and then if you go behind the HQ or behind those residents where we saw the massive structures, where the folks do businesses, shops, and all of that. And then this looks like an exclusive residence for one of the party hierarchies. That's exactly what it looks like. Well equipped, highly protected, has the one side of the roof has solar panel installed, fully AC, and it took the sheriff up to like an hour to break into this place.
I'm also being informed by Fabena GTV from Ghana is also relaying this broadcast for the national television.
Wow, this is quite a great news from our colleague Fabien Quea, and we love to say thanks to the folks there in Ghana from GTV for picking up this live coverage. That's the Deputy Police Inspector General touring with his men across the grounds of the famous CDC party headquarters, and amongst some of the discoveries that were made, 2 rifles, several bullets, a handgun, and we've also seen petrol bombs prepared by aggrieved partisans, though they weren't used. We also still see police officers at every end of the compound, strategically posted. And yes, the Deputy Police Inspector General is still walking with his men, heavily guided. So there he is. Asking questions, and And while we still live stream to you here from the CDC headquarters in Demolition, not only are the folks being evicted from the party headquarters, but their structures. If you look in there, there are chairs. If you look in there, these were some of the offices that were being used. This is the actual HQ building behind me. Behind me is the actual HQ building, the actual headquarters of the CDC. This is where all political related matters were being discussed. This building is hosting the conference rooms, the offices of the office of the political leader, the office of the party chairperson, the youth chair. You think of all of the hierarchy of the coalition for democratic change. This is exactly where every single activities was taking place. As you can see, there are chairs from the various offices that are visible, bathrooms fully air conditioned, and of course the excavator has brought everything down to ground floor from what it looks like. This behind me right here, if you come a little closer for me, Aaron, just come a little closer for me. Just come a little closer for me. Now, I keep repeating this. For those of you who remember in 2017, 2018, when the results for the presidential elections were being announced, this particular spot that has been broken already had the balcony on which former President George Weah stood and cried tears of joy when the CDC won the elections. And that famous balcony is no more. It has been brought down. Still here on my left hand side where the demolition is taking place. And let's just stand right here a little bit, Aaron. Behind me, if you remember, if you have been following, if you are a partisan or not, but if you have been watching content or videos from this particular party headquarters, that is the famous stage that is the CDC have always used to host key events that is being brought down. This is the stage on which former President George Weah will always stand and address members of his party or partisans. This is where he often joyfully danced the famous Booga music. Let's go and show you as it's being demolished. Now, there you see it. The entire stage has been broken into. This is the famous stage where the CDC party hierarchies will stand to address members of the party or address partisans. And if you look behind me, this wide open field is where partisans will stand and look in that direction at the stage and be addressed by their political leaders. But now if we just flip the camera, the entire stage has been brought down.
So on this particular famous stage, the former finance and development planning minister Samuel Toure and former minister of state for presidential affairs Nathaniel Falomagio dance the Buka dance.
Yes, former President George Weah himself famously made the Kiss Daniel Buga song famous from this particular stage.
Yes.
This is where when party functions were being held, they will come here and entertain their partisans, obviously, at this particular location. The stage is no more. The stage is obviously no more. The famous CDC HQ is obviously also no more. The excavator will now go to another location. I keep asking the question if the eviction also came with a package of demolition by the owners of the property. Obviously. And so the excavator will go into another direction. Let's see if so the excavator is going gradually, but Aaron, if you know the famous Sacoma tree in the CDC party headquarters that their former party chairman Moba Molu will always speak about, let's meet under the Sacoma tree and speak political issues. Let's see if that is not where the excavator is headed. Let's see. we assume, it looks like the excavator is headed for the famous Sacoma tree. So let's go side by side. Let's go side by side with the excavator, folks. And yes, Amos, Aaron, it appears the excavator is making its way out there after demolishing what looks like the key structures, in fact, the key structures here in the CDC party headquarters. So let's see if we can go in that direction. It appears the demolition still continues, or the excavator might be making its way out, but no, it isn't here. It's making a U-turn. From what it looks like, it's making its way out. Well, it doesn't seem to me that the excavator is making its way out. It looks like the demolition still continues in this other direction, somewhere closer to the BMC compound. There are structures also that have been erected, and it appears the excavator is going to demolish those structures. And now we are under, can you show the camera? We are under the famous Sacoma tree, and now as we speak we're under the famous Sacoma tree, and behind us, if you notice, that it's where meetings were held every time the CDC had a press conference and a very serious political meeting. That exactly is where they will hold a meeting. And here now the excavator has made its way here, and it has started demolishing these structures already. And there are cables, electricity connections, all in this direction. And there you have it.
So, Tony, a few weeks ago on the civil law court rule regarding the eviction, we saw prototype on social media, believed to be the new headquarters of the CDC, and that prototype was posted by Eugene Nangbe. And so we are still watching whether after this eviction, the CDC will move to a brand new headquarters where their partisans will once again withdraw, and will have the pride and joy of the CDC.
Well, obviously it doesn't. And on the other hand, there are discussions that those images were AI generated, artificial intelligence generated. I agree, there's nothing wrong with generating the prototype of your proposed project using artificial intelligence. But also, why question is, why does there have to now be a prototype because you are being evicted? Why hasn't it been a concern that this structure isn't ours and eventually we might be evicted? So, but again, you are watching the demolition of almost all of the structures here.
Yes. So one may say there is no particular time to construct political party headquarters. So it could be one of the defense tools. But again, we are still watching to see whether after this invasion they will certainly move to the headquarters that we look at the prototype on social media. And since that prototype came out, there has not been a kind of reaction to say, oh, this is not the CDC making. So one the CDC or the hierarchy in the CDC are silent about it, we deduce that yes, indeed, it was a making of the CDC.
Now the famous Sacoma tree structure, it appears the excavator is obviously going for the famous Sacoma tree structure. And there you have it. There you have it. The famous Sacoma tree structure is being brought down brick by brick, column by column, wall by wall. This is the arena where top political decisions were made. This is the environment or the arena where top political statements were made against opponents. And the excavator is breaking down the famous Sacoma tree mini stadium, if you might want to call it that.
You call that a mini stadium?
Brick by brick, tearing the steels apart. Let's go a little closer, Aaron. This way. Now, kindly focus in there. So if you notice in the structures it's built. Let's show the entire structure quickly before it gets demolished. And this is what the entire structure looks like. This is what the entire structure looks like before it gets demolished. This is where discussions are usually held in here. And partisans will usually sit up there and also sit in this other direction. And then right here, right before us here, they will have the podium. And this is where the political party leaders will speak from to address partisans on serious matters and also hold national press conferences. But now, let's get down because this place is being demolished. It's being brought down brick by brick, wall by wall, column, steel, zinc, all being torn apart.
So, will you want
And of course, the ground beneath us is obviously shaking. And as the excavator tears these structures apart, and come to think of it, this is quite a strong, giant-sized piece of infrastructure, obviously, with lots of steels in the walls. You see it. So where are you watching from? Where are you following us from? What are your observations in the comment section? Kindly tell us if you're watching us on national television, on your television sets, in your various homes. We love to say thank you for following. So the excavator will come in the other direction as the eviction continues. But Aaron, while the excavator continues the crackdown on the structures, let's show you what the environment looks like. Let's go on the road quickly. Now you can show the famous Sacoma tree is being brought down. Yes, the very historic, famous Sacoma tree is being brought down.
There is a museum that was made after this particular Sacoma tree.
Wow.
Yes, and every time when citizens gathered, they always sang that particular songs to stimulate their appetite for their political party.
Well, this Sacoma tree is being brought down. Let's go a little further, Aaron. Let's go to safety. Let's go to safety. The famous Sacoma tree is being brought down. And of course, and while the excavator continues the demolition area, let's show you what the environment looks like currently. For those of you watching, where are you following us from so far? But let's come in the middle of the road and show you quickly. So behind me is the Oro Junction, and then precisely where I stand, there are no vehicles plying this particular route, and also behind us from the Painesville end, there are also no vehicles driving in this particular direction. The police have created barricade as far as the Catholic Hospital junction, and then from this end, they've also created another barricade from as far as the Oro Junction, or you can say somewhere around the Invincible Sports Park, or closer to the residence of former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. But we also see police officers still positioned here along the streets. The joint security are still here present. We have officers from the Emergency Response Unit, officers from the Police Support Unit, we have officers from the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, the National Fire and Rescue Service, and you name it. So also right here before the LBDR Lone Star Cell MTN, there are folks standing by. My colleague Aaron wanted to make a point.
Yes, so I have not yet seen any hierarchy from the CDC to accept or to have in his or her possession the eviction order from the court. I still see the file in the hands of the sheriff from civil law court. That's one thing I've been noticing.
Yeah, definitely, because during eviction processes, someone has to come and receive,
Yes,
the eviction letter or whatever, and before that happens. But it's obvious there might not have been.
in the khaki.
Sure, those are the
right
sheriffs.
right around that vehicle.
Yes.
That sheriff comes from civil law court at the Temple of Justice.
Definitely.
He still have the evasion order in his possession.
Can we see if we can tweak him a little bit? Let's just walk there closely and see if we can tweak him a little bit. So it appears there hasn't been anyone who has formally received the eviction order.
Yeah, but during the ruling from the court, you have both lawyers representing the CDC and the Nas family.
Okay.
So which and I was present in court and I witnessed the ruling. Both lawyers were in court and they took cease of their ruling from the court, from the judge.
Okay. How are you, sir? How are you? How are you? Are you from the civil law court, sir? Okay, thank you. But is that the eviction order you have with you? Sorry? Well, if he, it just sounds out here. Yeah, yeah. Just say I don't want to speak. It's fine. It's okay. Don't worry. So we also see the police spokesperson, Madame Cecilia Clark. There you have a vehicle driving in. If you look closely, that's the police spokesperson there, Madame Cecilia Clark. She is yet to give the press an opportunity to hear from her as to the details surrounding this operations. We still see police officers who are here on the standby. We're hoping if we can have a word from her, but as it stands,
at this stage, law enforcers are very careful and not to make any contradictory statement.
Sure, definitely.
So yeah, they are still waiting order from high or before maybe the spokesperson of the LNP can come to make the position of the LNP. But until then, it will be a bit difficult to get any statement from LNP before it be used against them in court.
all right. So yes, Aaron, the eviction continues. The demolition also continues.
Yeah, so far being continuing to send information. She said the civil law court rule, but the Supreme Court of Liberia also there's several ruling. The Supreme Court ruled to us in this particular case. So this is not just a today or yesterday case. This case, like I've been saying, I've been lingering around the Supreme Court or the Temple of Justice for a couple of years now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this isn't the first time that we're hearing eviction order or the owners of the properties wanting the CDC to vacate the premises.
And the ruling from the Supreme Court always reaffirm the ruling from the lower courts. So many, it tells you that the ruling from the lower court had no error in it. So once the Supreme Court always reaffirming the ruling from the lower courts, it tells you that the lower court made no error in their ruling.
colleague Aaron Talu bringing us more details as it relates to the eviction process of the famous CDC from their party headquarters. And if we just whip the camera around, this place has taken a whole different identity, a whole different look. This isn't what this place looks like a few or just an hour or two ago.
Finally, the Sacoma tree is...
The famous Sacoma tree is down.
Yes, it's now down. Yes.
The famous Sacoma tree has been brought down.
Maybe there might be a very strong statement after this, and we are still.
I obviously will not doubt that the CDC will condemn these actions. Now, also obviously will not doubt that they will obviously tie these actions to what they might consider as political humiliation.
Yes, and last night when the acting chairman of the CDC, Gusta Jangakwa, appeared on one of the local radio stations, so every time they ask him this question, whether since the ruling of the court, why the CDC cannot leave the Bernard family property, he always respond that this is a political issue, and the ruling Unity Party want to fight the CDC. That's why he would say. So
this is obviously, I mean, this is the CDC establishment is obviously a political establishment, and as it relates to the issues surrounding this particular eviction, once questions about the eviction comes up, there are accusations that the party is being evicted by something that's influenced by their opponents, and then throwing direct accusation at the ruling Unity Party currently. Definitely. So obviously, I mean, this is void of the political conversation. You twist it whichever way, the folks at the CDC will obviously say that this particular eviction is politically motivated.
Yeah, and we are still hoping to see whether the CDC will still have the much anticipated and the much publicized gathering today, which is the executive meeting. Yeah, so we are still hoping. I'm told it will be around 1 p.m. and so we are still hoping whether that gathering will still take place at this particular ground, even though the evasion is currently ongoing. Whether there will still be a gathering, we are watching.
Well, we look forward to obviously a press conference or some press release that might come out by or from the former ruling establishment. But this is the famous CDC party headquarters that hosted several successful political campaigns, Aaron. Several successful political campaigns. We're talking several big national events also held in this compound, held on this football field right behind you. On this football field, holding thousands of partisans in support of their political establishment. Well, this is obviously going to be no more from what it looks like.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yes, and a couple of months ago,
obviously, of course, Aaron.
yes, only a couple of months ago, the former soccer legend, I can clearly say that former president as well, George Weah, demonstrated his dynasty right here on this particular soccer pitch. Every time when there's a gathering, unity, peace and reconciliation, every time he will come on this particular page, to demonstrate why he has in less. So, I mean, the last time he played there was 4 months ago.
Yep. Sure. So lots of history being defaced. Lots of history being defaced. The famous gate entry that had the famous CDC logo was the first thing to be hit this morning, brought down flat to the floor. Flat to the floor with this excavator that you're looking at right here.
Yeah, so this entry used to be the signature of the CDC. Yes,
the
from
signature
town,
of the CDC.
from Pinsville, you see the signature of the CDC. And whenever you are approaching this place, I mean, you know exactly that there is a political party that exists in Liberia, and it's been hosted right here at its national headquarters. Name is CDC.
That was brought down in an instant by this excavator.
Yeah. I mean, history has also been made. And the CDC have been here around two decades.
Yes, up to 20 years.
Yes, yeah. So
2 decades of history being defaced.
yes. Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of the law, Tony. Whenever the court rules, I mean,
Yes, sir.
no
How
more
is-
say. Whenever the court rules, there no more say. You have to abide by the rule of law. The rule of law is what made the country to be a beautiful place. And
the country judiciary,
yes,
the country's legal system.
yeah. So I mean, today at the CDC, tomorrow it could be an individual. I mean, once the court rule, just will serve a deterrent as well.
Definitely. So this is purely implementation of the court order, the laws of Liberia.
And Tony, this is not first of a kind in Liberia. You can remember the famous the Fennels issue, the Fennel land case that took place a couple of years back. People have decent homes and around that particular property that belongs to the University of Liberia. When the court ruled, I mean, there was no mercy. The law had to take a course, so there shouldn't be. People should not say it's not first of a kind in Liberia. It's all happening when the court rules. The law, is being implemented.
The current ruling establishment Unity Party were once evicted from their headquarters in Congo Town.
Yes, and what happened to the now ruling Unity Party was when the court ruled and the landlord told Unity Party, you cannot afford the bill of this property. The UP, took a essay. Yeah, that's the difference. The UP easily took a essay and find somewhere else to move. Unless the CDC,
avoiding humiliation of this nature.
Yes,
from
unless-
what this looks like.
unless the CDC, the court has ruled a couple of times, and the CDC still want to insist that yes, we will be here. And the thing is, for example, if you have your property and I want to buy your property, if you tell me no, you cannot buy my property, I cannot coerce you. Yeah, I cannot coerce you to say, oh Tony, I will buy your property by force. Once you tell me no, you cannot buy my property, I will not force you. So this is what happening. The court rule and CDC they want to, by all costs get their property, and the owner of the property are saying we cannot sell our property to you. Yes.
So the famous Sacoma tree is still being brought down, component by component. The excavator still whipping around, crunching onto these giant side structures, brick by brick, wall by wall. I keep saying that.
It's already been done in bits and pieces.
Definitely.
From one stage to another.
From one structure to the other.
Yeah, first we witnessed the balcony of the CDC, and later on they moved to the Munantec and the late district number 9 representative, whom this building was named after. Yeah. And Tony, since the construction and the dedication of this building, this vocational school, I can be corrected. I have not seen any graduate from this particular school.
Well, we've been told there was a batch.
That's why I say I can be corrected.
And now, Aaron, if you just focus here at this truck that you see entering the compound. This truck that you see entering the compound is a tow truck, and there is a vehicle here in the compound that this truck is about to tow. And they're going to put that vehicle on the truck. If you just look behind you, there is a pickup truck. There's a white pickup there, a white Toyota pickup. So that white Toyota pickup will be placed on this tow truck, and it will be lifted out from the compound. But we don't necessarily show you that the excavator still breaking structures down. The excavator still breaking structures down. And ahead of you there, you have the famous Munantec TVAT institution, the famous CDC HQ, the famous stage in the compound of the CDC.
and Tony, when the CDC was actually a ruling party, this place that we are looking at here, this particular Sacoma tree, used to be the center of attraction. There was a mandate from the chairman of the CDC, Molu, that every government official after work, you should make sure to assemble here at the CDC party headquarters. And we used to see Partisan of the CDC every time we pass here. There be a football tournament and entertainment and talent show. Every time we experience that here, but unless today, I mean, the tail will turn around.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a whole different scenario. This 23rd day of August 2025, and this and Tony, the thing is the atmosphere is very quiet. If you know, maybe you notice that as well.
Yes, very calm this morning. We are closer to the ocean, right by the Bananas Beach, and the breeze is whistling from across there. Actually, it's actually very calm here.
It's not raining. The weather is cloudy.
Sure.
We are experiencing a little bit of breeze, and it's not too breezy. We are experiencing a little bit of breeze. It's not raining. There's no sun. I mean, just Tony, you've been in England a couple of times now. It is similar to in England.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, basically, you're right. It's actually calm out here, and come to think of it, even within the Congo Town environment, the folks who usually sell along the streets here, even right before the Lone Star area, are actually not doing business today because of what was being anticipated, you know. But again, that isn't the case. I mean, the evacuation is taking place calmly. I mean, describe it like that. But again, it's a little brutal, but that is not coming from the police. It's coming from an excavator.
So folks, we are still here. At the headquarters of the CDC, where civil law court eviction order is currently being executed by the Liberia National Police. Earlier on, there was a discovery of several lethal weapons in one of the buildings here, and the LNP is currently in possession of those lethal weapons, after which final determination will be made by the government of Liberia. 3 arrests have been made so far. 3 males have been arrested so far.
Yeah, sure. My colleague was bringing you up to speed regarding what has transpired so far since we've been here, as the evacuation coupled with demolition continues. So far so good. There have been discovery also of lethal weapons in some of the structures. And so, Aaron, Just if you show the camera that way quickly and zoom in a little bit, the vehicle that we spoke about has been placed on the tow truck and it's been shifted or taken out of the compound among several items that are being taken out of here. But again, structures continue to be demolished. Structures continue to be demolished. So, folks, most of these structures that you are seeing that are currently being demolished, lots of them were being used as shops for entertainment, business, refreshment, and you name it. But the actual residents were the previous ones on the other end behind the actual HQ. But also this particular event center, famously known as the Sacoma tree, has also been brought down. Now, as the demolition continues, the eviction order by the court is being brought into full effect by police authorities along with the sheriffs. Now, this is a joint effort, folks. We are witnessing the presence of folks from the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. We also do have officers from the Emergency Response Unit, that's the ERU, Police Support Unit also. So this excavator continues to swing from one end of this place to the other, creating its own routes to execute this eviction order. Well, as we speak, one can't say how far the conversation has gone already, but wherever you're watching from, it's obvious that the conversation is actually huge now. Folks are having their say across the country. Folks are having their say across the world. The social media is bustling with comments, with views. There are those who are in total disagreement with this particular idea, especially supporters of the CDC, who are obviously frowning at this particular eviction coupled with demolition of structures here in the party headquarters. Like I said, 20 consecutive years, that's 2 consecutive decades of leadership of structures also erected in the compound. They're all being defaced and they're being brought down flat to the ground after the owners of this property have requested the political establishment CDC to depart these premises. And the famous Monatech TVET, Technical Vocational Education and Training Facility, is still being brought down. This is one of the structures that were erected right after the 2017 elections, few years or a year or two right after the CDC's right after the CDC won the elections. This structure was erected from efforts made by its former political or party chairperson, Mobake Molu Jr., who now has another, well, civil society group, if you might call it that, called STEM, which recently led a mass protest across the city.
Can you call that mass protest? STEM protest that took place, I think 2 months back.
2 months back was a protest that brought lots of Liberians out, obviously. Well, it might not, might not take that, can be characterized as a mass protest, if you may think. But again, there are several Liberians out there at the grounds of the capital, touring several streets across the city. and one will say that his group, STEM, can be considered a civil society group, but again, you all notice that they obviously collaborated with aggrieved partisans of the CDC to have held that protest a few months back. So it also sends questions to the authenticity or neutrality of the quote-unquote civil society group STEM. But just to draw your attention, the efforts to construct this structure came from him. So the excavator is still digging in. Yeah, it's the shovel. Excavator still digging in. Breaking down walls, tearing the roof apart, and of course, very aggressive operator. He is claiming on the stockpile of rubble to execute this mandate of his. What we are also yet to see is the presence of any of the party hierarchies. Although there are individual partisans who might have had materials or stuff here, belongings here, have come to peacefully pick them up in accordance and cooperation along with the police.
The demolition.
And this demolition, of course, continues. And if you are following this coverage, it's being brought to you live from within the ODS Congo Town area, where the now former headquarters of the CDC, from what it looks like. Yes, obviously, there is also the Liberia water and sewer pipeline passing through. It appears it has been affected, and it's actually pumping water from that particular side of the building, but that can be walked on later on. But the excavator will now go in another direction. And so, folks, if you're listening to us also, we are bringing this coverage live to you on ELBC Radio 99.9 FM. We also live on LNTV Liberia Live. We've been told we have been relayed as far as Ghana. And we want to appreciate the efforts of the folks out there for making this coverage possible. So the main gate, still there is some work to be done. The excavator will bring down the police, the security booth. The excavator will bring down the security booth. Aaron. You know, there are folks who are still bringing out their belongings, so it appears the excavator will hold on a little bit. But from what it looks like, he's about to hit. There you have it, the first hit. Focus on it, right? Not yet. Don't go too close. The first hit on the security booth has been made. Starting with the beams and columns right here. The stairs being brought down. And of course, this aggressive excavator operator is bringing down the security booth. And this particular structure was erected right after the CDC won the 2017 elections. Lots of these structures in here are all brand new structures that were just created or erected right after the elections was won, just to give the party headquarters a facelift. So there you have it. It's been brought down brick by brick. It's being brought down brick by brick. Cracking through the glasses, tearing the steel apart. And the police spokesperson was trying to organize members of the press to stay a bit further from this aggressive excavator as it digs into the walls of structures here on the grounds of the famous CDC headquarters. Well, now former headquarters of the former ruling party. Of course, obviously, Aaron, like I've been saying this morning, we have not noticed any retaliatory, retaliatory actions from anyone or from any of the partisans. This morning, we saw what looked like partisans, wanting to retaliate, though nothing of such transpired. The police this morning moved in hugely, several components, they divided themselves into teams coming from all angles of the headquarters. Early this morning at around 5:10, 5:15, I was somewhere in the back of the party headquarters along the beach, and I saw, a huge number of police officers, riot police officers, all posted on the beach, along the beach end, all posted in the back of the headquarters, different portions or different locations around this particular vicinity. There've been officers posted. Even now as we speak, if we walk into the neighborhood right behind the CDC party headquarters, there are police officers posted in those particular locations as this eviction process continues here in Congo Town. And this lady is standing right by once an occupant of one of these structures here. She just brought out a few of her belongings from that security booth, and obviously
she used to be in the media, Tony.
Yes, of course, I know she used to be in the media, and up there is also one of the centers for this, the media guys. Yeah, so definitely.
It's actually used to security booth.
I know it's obviously the security booth, but at the top floor there are other, they were being used to showcase sometimes sites for partisans and all of that. So.
Watching to see between now until 1 p.m. and what will be the outcome. Lana, it will affirm that today the CDC will be having executive meeting.
Sure, definitely.
So we are still
it doesn't. Well, it obviously might not align from what it looks like, unless they might use anywhere of the vicinity. But from now, as we speak, as the police are carrying out this evasion, what will happen will be that this particular place will be heavily guarded by security, beginning now. So there's obviously not going to be anyone attempting to evade. Definitely, that's what it's going to look like. As we speak, once this process is done, the police will obviously be guarding, or there will be officers, positioned or stationed here to provide security.
the only person I've not seen here so far from the police is the Inspector General of the police. So you have folks from the LDA, from the Immigration Service, you have folks from the National Fire Service as well here.
Sure, definitely. I mean, it's a joint operation Remember the circular that was up where the government requested full cooperation from even the citizens themselves, including the very political party that is being evicted today. And this is a collective effort, obviously.
Yeah, so Tony, could you just speak on the traffic advisory that was issued by the LNP?
Sure.
If you are coming from Pinsville, you have to leave the route around the embassy of the Nigerian
Sure,
embassy.
definitely. Like we were on the road, I was trying to portray what it actually looks like, Aaron, because this particular vicinity where we find ourselves is heavily protected, heavily guided by security. There is a huge security presence. So I can guarantee you, obviously, folks coming from the Pinsville end will have to branch from the Nigeria house or the Nigeria embassy there in Congo Town, and then go on the old road end and drive on the old road, and then you will book eventually at the executive car wash to make your way to town. So basically that's what it looks like. This particular vicinity is heavily guided by security, and you can drive through here unless probably under permission by the police, but it doesn't sound like something that's possible from the way it looks like. The way the place is heavily guided by security. Even at the Cali Junction, there are additional traffic police officers are directing vehicles not to use this direction. But it appears traffic has been released. Aaron, let's see if we can go there a little bit from what I'm looking at. It appears the traffic has been released. From what it looks like, there are vehicles now applying the actual Tottenham Boulevard route. I'm seeing buses, I'm seeing private vehicles now plying the Tottenham Boulevard route. So it appears the police have lifted the barricade that was somewhere around the Invisible Sports Park or the Executive Car Wash or the Oro Junction, if you can call it that. So we are looking at taxis, private vehicles are now driving along the main Tottenham Boulevard. So Aaron, we can now say that the barricade has been lifted from what it looks like. But basically the operation has gone into full effect. The police have barricaded, not barricaded necessarily, but have evacuated residents. Just a few of them, in fact, have arrested 4 individuals who, one fellow who was still residing in the building, one individual was still residing in the building where the lethal weapons were discovered. 2 individuals claimed to have been deeply asleep, and even including the fellow who was handcuffed in the building where the weapons were discovered.
The first gentleman.
Yes, he assumed he was deeply asleep. He didn't know there was an eviction taking place. But again, just to show you now that the traffic has been, there is a free flow of traffic now, and you don't want to see the reaction of those in the taxis and in the buses looking through their windows and witnessing the action themselves. Kind of looks very surprised. Imagine, wow, this is the CDC headquarters and I'm driving by and it has taken a whole different look. The entire place has been defaced and demolished. Not only is the police carrying out an evacuation mandate or an eviction order, they are demolishing structures.
So whenever thing of such happen, we expect to hear mixed views from citizens. Obviously, if you look at social media right now, you'll see tons of different comments either against or for. So it should not be
strange.
Yeah, it's not.
Obviously, folks will have their say. Folks are having their say, but we are driving by. We're here at the CDC party headquarters where the police are carrying out an eviction order from the court. They're being supported by it's a joint security effort, in fact. And like we said, the entire route was obviously or previously barricaded, or has now been opened for a free flow of traffic. So thank you. So now the excavator is still demolishing structures here. The excavator is still demolishing structures. Aaron, tree. It's about to demolish this tree. Aaron. So an entire coconut tree has just been brought down. It appears they have police officers are now asking the aggressive operator of the excavator
Very aggressive.
to calm down a little bit. He has been aggressively pushing walls back and forth, breaking walls from brick by brick, cracking trees, branch by branch, digging out roots, clearing paths with his iron chains, and defacing the entire headquarters of the CDC. Every building, every block has been touched, including light posts, all brought down. This is the famous CDC party headquarters. And now let's go a little closer and see. Well, he continues. He is not slowing down. He is
Young.
excavator operator.
Yes.
He is not slowing down. He's still breaking down trees. I thought the famous Sacoma tree alone would have been sufficient, but no, he is still breaking down trees.
So this is a view of the.
This is what it looks like, folks. See the entire compound for yourselves, from left to right. Every building has been touched and defaced. And police officers are still sitting around, strategically positioned, and still keeping this compound heavily guided, and the walls of the buildings all tied by the aggressive moves from this excavator driver or operator. And so he continues. It appears he has gotten a phone call because I see through his ears. He had a phone to his ears, it appears. And well, if that wasn't a phone call, whatever it might have been, he is making another move and going into another direction. Could be he's going to make his way in the back where there are other structures that have not been touched.
Hey.
Man, what's up? Where could he be heading? Previously, the famous HQ itself. I mean, that building ahead, the famous HQ, was literally the only structure in this entire compound when the CDC took over in 2005. And in fact, this wasn't the place where they even came on their first entry for them to have had, I think, a party headquarters. There used to be somewhere in another location, but this structure was built when they won the elections, including with several of them that are attached in the back. So the excavator operator is here at the back of the building. It appears he's going to that building where the lethal weapons were discovered, Aaron,
Yes.
or what it looks like.
Still following the
Yeah.
when
Well, yeah.
HQ.
Yeah, still, it could be he's still putting aside components of the HQ. It appears. Sounds more to me like the owner is like, I don't want anything or any structure on that ground. They're breaking down trees. Breaking down mango trees. And
I'm still waiting to see the guys who were at the entrance with that heavy flame.
well, obviously, with the presence of police here, I mean, I don't want to assume there will be anyone coming out here with any violent retaliatory action. I don't want to assume so.
The entire media community in Liberia is right here this morning.
Of course, especially live TVs, they're all present here. There are also individual residents who are showing their camera to capture the scene. Individual residents who are here showing their cameras, they're capturing the scene. But the action is on. You will now. The action is on. And Aaron, if you zoom in closely, behind the excavator, if you see that building, that compound, that is the residence of
The Bernard family?
Yes, that is the residence of the Bernard family. It's just both properties are just right by each other, and that is exactly where Achibo Bernard, former legal advisor to the president, also resides, and that's where his sister also resides.
Is he currently in country?
That I cannot independently verify. But the excavator is still bringing down the famous HQ. And Aaron, if only you can just show the camera and see the number of media practitioners who are here. Several of them lined up. Of course, very close to the excavator.
You have lots of memory about this particular issue.
Definitely, I kind of have a history of residing behind this HQ. There's a neighborhood here behind this HQ called Small Town, and I moved in this community at around 2012 when I had just gotten admissions in the university, in Stars University College. So every morning I would leave this place, walk through the party headquarters on this pavement that you're looking at. But then this entire place was not paved, and I would walk on the road, grab a taxi, and go to school. So this particular compound has always been open to residents of that neighborhood. You would just walk through and go wherever you're going. Though there were instances of some harassment and stuff like that. I still remember an incident in 2000 and I think 18 or 19 when residents of that neighborhood went head to head with partisans, especially those residing in the party headquarters. It resulted to police coming in. It was like a huge protest. The residents of the neighborhood were accusing those residing in the party headquarters of always attacking their homes, stealing from their homes. It became very chaotic, and the residents had to burn down all of the makeshift structures that you're seeing in the back of the party headquarters a few years back. That was not one instant. It happened on several instances, in fact 2 instances that I can recall, and it had to take the intervention of the Liberia National Police to come at the back of the CDC to resolve